In 2007, FBI agents and Gaming Control Board investigators moved simultaneously across 14 states, 45 arrests, 27 casinos, the largest coordinated casino fraud takedown in American history. At the center, a man known only as Pai Gao John. His real name was Phuong Quoc Truong. For 5 years, his family crime syndicate cheated American casinos out of $7 million, not by hacking systems or marking cards, but by turning the dealers themselves into inside operatives. The answer to how it stayed hidden starts with a single weakness no casino thought to protect. Before sunrise, casino floors across 14 states slammed to a halt. Security doors locked, dealers frozen at their tables. In Las Vegas, Mississippi, Indiana, California, everywhere the Tran Organization had touched, the air changed at once. FBI agents and State Gaming Control Board officers swept in, badges out, radios crackling, moving in tight formation. Surveillance feeds were isolated, vaults sealed. Every gaming floor became a crime scene in seconds. At least 27 casinos, from tribal venues in the Pacific Northwest to the neon sprawl of the Strip, found themselves under siege. Agents fanned out, searching for hidden transmitters, marked cards, anything that could explain the missing millions. Dealers were led away in handcuffs, some in uniforms, some still clutching payout slips. In back offices, pit bosses stared at printouts from the FBI, names of staff, dates, times, all tied to the same invisible pattern. 45 people were arrested before most gamblers even woke up. The sweep was so fast, so coordinated, that not a single suspect managed to warn the others. By midday, the news had spread. It was the largest casino fraud takedown in American history. The name at the top of every warrant was Phuong Quoc Truong, known in every San Diego card room as Pai Gao John. The man who, for 5 years, had run a family crime syndicate that cheated casinos out of approximately $7 million without ever touching the cards himself. But as agents boxed up evidence, cash, encrypted phones, training manuals, one question echoed from pit to pit. How did a network this sprawling, this disciplined, stay hidden for so long? How could 45 insiders move undetected from coast to coast, right under the eyes of the world's most paranoid industry? The answer was not in the vaults or the cages. It was buried deep in the shuffle, where every game looked honest, until the moment it was not. Phuong Quoc Truong, known in San Diego's card rooms as Pai Gao John, blended in among the dealers, quiet, observant, always watching the table. He wasn't flashy, but he had a knack for reading people and games, a skill honed over years spent behind the felt. Truong's journey began far from the bright lights of the casino floor. He was born in Vietnam in the 1960s, and he moved to the United States as a child. He drifted through odd jobs before settling in as a dealer at Sichuan Resort and Casino. The casino world was insular, its rules unwritten but strictly enforced. Truong noticed the cracks, management's favoritism, the quiet frustration among staff, the stories of overlooked promotions and simmering resentment. Fired in 2002, he left with more than a grudge. He left with a blueprint. Out of work, he began reaching out to dealers and supervisors and technicians who felt underappreciated or invisible. He promised quick cash, $1,000 to $5,000 a session, no violence, no breaking in, just a role to play and a plan to follow. His approach was methodical. Family sat at the top, trusted lieutenants were below, with layers of secrecy and code words. The operation's heart stayed in San Diego, but its reach soon spanned 14 states. Pai Gow Poker was his chosen arena. The shuffle seemed random to outsiders, but Trong's insiders knew better. With the right hands, a false shuffle could keep a block of cards in order, invisible to cameras and pit bosses alike. There was no need to mark cards or fix machines, just make the shuffle look real. Between 2002 and 2007, Trong's network siphoned $7 million from 27 casinos. 45 people were convicted, but at its core, the operation was the vision of one man who saw opportunity where others saw only risk. In Pai Gow Poker, everything hinges on the shuffle. To the untrained eye, the ritual looks routine. 6 decks, a flurry of hands, cards riffled and stacked. But inside the Tran Organization, the shuffle became a weapon. Dealers trained for weeks in rented rooms learned to preserve a secret block of cards, the slug, while making every move look perfectly ordinary. The trick was bold, almost surgical. During the shuffle, the dealer would keep a segment of cards intact, sliding it through the process, untouched. Cameras caught nothing. Pit bosses saw only confidence and speed. The slug, hidden mid-shoe, would surface at the exact moment needed, feeding a stream of predictable hands to the Syndicate's players. No marked cards, no tampered machines, just hands moving at the right rhythm, eyes never breaking character. The entire table trusted the shuffle. Surveillance teams reviewed hours of footage and found only flawless technique, but the slug always survived, buried just deep enough, surfacing for a single round before vanishing again. With every false shuffle, the house edge flipped. Dealers became technicians, turning a simple game into a $7 million siphon. The question haunted investigators. How many hands had they missed? And how many more slugs were hiding, invisible, in the shuffle? Recruiters moved quietly through casino break rooms and late-night parking lots, scanning for the right kind of desperation. Financial stress was the first filter. Dealers with mounting debts, overdue rent, or medical bills. Sometimes it was a recent suspension, a missed promotion, or the silent burn of being passed over. They watched for hands that shuffled cards with practiced ease, but eyes that darted when the pit boss walked by. Vulnerability was currency. Once a target was flagged, the pitch came fast. A single session, no violence, $1,000 to $5,000 cash, paid the same night. No need to quit the job. Just play a part, follow instructions, keep quiet. The money flowed through shell companies, then was handed off in unmarked envelopes at off-site locations, sometimes a rented apartment, sometimes the back room of a car wash. For those who delivered, there were bonuses, a cut of the night's winnings, or a referral fee for bringing in new talent. Training was relentless. 4 phases, each more demanding than the last. Recruits watched demonstration tapes, then drilled on transparent practice shoes under the eye of a senior trainer. They learned to mask the false shuffle, to keep a slug intact without a single nervous glance. Live simulations followed, with hidden cameras and planted observers. Only those who passed a final certification, completing 5 perfect false shuffles with no mistakes and no tells, were cleared for real tables. The rest were cut. No second chances. Every step was documented, every payout logged in a central ledger kept far from the casino floor. The operation's reach depended on this pipeline. Dealers weren't just employees, they were assets, tested, paid, and expendable. The question that haunted every casino manager in the aftermath: how many more had slipped through, invisible, waiting for the next call? A criminal syndicate built on family ties and silent codes quietly embedded itself in the heart of the casino world. Dealers, once trusted with the flow of chips and cards, became the inside men, their loyalty bought or coerced, their every move watched by eyes that never blinked. For 5 years, the network operated in the shadows, slipping through the cracks of 27 casinos, each heist more daring than the last. Surveillance tapes gathered dust, audits missed the patterns, and security chiefs swapped theories in back rooms, never suspecting the true scale of the operation. The syndicate's reach was methodical, its discipline absolute. Every payout, every coded gesture at the tables, every shift change, calculated, rehearsed, and executed with a precision that left investigators grasping at rumors. The story of this family crime network is more than a tale of stolen fortunes. It's a study in patience, trust, and the slow corrosion of integrity from within. As the final chapter of the Global Heist series closes, the stakes only rise. Next, the Chicago outfit's Operation Family Secrets comes to light, a saga where the mob's own code of silence fractures and betrayals echo through generations. The story continues, each revelation casting the past in a sharper, more dangerous light. From San Diego's tribal casinos to the steel and glass towers of the Midwest, the Tran Organization's reach was staggering. Over 5 years, their network infiltrated at least 27 casinos in 14 states. California, Nevada, Indiana, Washington, Mississippi, Louisiana, Connecticut, Arizona, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, Illinois, and New York. Each state became another link in a chain that stretched coast to coast. The method never changed. Dealers, paid between $1,000 and $5,000 per session, preserved a block of cards with a sleight-of-hand move that looked like any ordinary shuffle. In reality, the sequence stayed intact, turning the next round into a guaranteed payday. The numbers told a story no one in the industry wanted to believe. $7 million siphoned out, hand by hand, table by table. In Indiana, a single 90-minute session at Resorts East Chicago netted $868,000. In Washington, tribal regulators flagged suspicious wins at Emerald Queen Casino, but the pattern remained invisible. The FBI traced shell companies, wire transfers, and duffel bags of cash moving quietly from casino vaults to safe houses in San Diego. Every venue had its own security, its own rules, its own layers of surveillance. None of it mattered. The syndicate moved like a shadow, never settling, always expanding, always one step ahead of the audit trail. By the time the indictments landed in United States District Court, Southern District of California, the damage was done. 45 people were convicted, $7 million gone. But the real shock was the map itself. How could a single family-linked network run the same play in so many places for so long without anyone connecting the dots? And if the Tran Organization could pull it off, who else was out there, watching, waiting for their turn? Casino surveillance was built to catch cheaters. Cameras everywhere, security teams watching every table, every move. But the Tran Organization slipped through, not because the system was weak, but because it was fractured. Each casino ran its own control room, its own set of eyes, its own rules on what to flag and when to report. There was no central database, no real time sharing. A suspicious shuffle in Mississippi never reached a pit boss in California. A flagged payout in Indiana might sit in a file drawer for weeks, never compared to one in Connecticut. Dealers could move from one casino to the next, changing names, changing uniforms, never leaving a paper trail that anyone outside the building could see. Camera coverage had its own limits. Most angles focused on the chips, not the hands. The shuffle, a blur of movement, looked honest in real time and on playback. Even the best surveillance chiefs admitted it, unless a dealer made a blatant mistake. The false shuffle was invisible. Review teams watched hours of tape, searching for tells. But the Tran dealers had trained for this. Every gesture rehearsed, every flick of the wrist perfectly timed. The slug of cards slid through untouched, hidden in plain sight. No one noticed the block that never got mixed. No one questioned the pattern of wins that always arrived just a few rounds after certain dealers took the table. Reporting was just as fragmented. Casinos filed their own suspicious activity reports, but only for losses that crossed a set threshold. The Tran Organization kept their hauls just under the radar, splitting big wins across sessions and states. Regulators saw isolated blips, never the full picture. By the time the FBI and gaming control boards pieced together the pattern, 5 years had passed. The system had failed, not from lack of vigilance, but from a blindness built into its very structure. How many more syndicates were hiding in the seams, waiting for the next blind spot to open? A single anomaly, a dealer's hand hesitating for less than a second, set everything in motion. The FBI's San Diego field office, already tracking a spike in dealer-related complaints, called in a new kind of weapon, pattern recognition software. This custom algorithm didn't care about faces or names. It scanned thousands of hours of casino footage, looking for one thing: partial shuffles that left a block of cards untouched. The algorithm lit up on the same handful of dealers, the same sequence of hands stretching from California to Indiana. State gaming control boards started swapping notes. Suspicious wins in Connecticut matched losses in Nevada. A dealer flagged in Mississippi turned up on a roster in Washington. The pattern was too precise for coincidence. Then, a break. One dealer, facing a wall of charges, agreed to talk. He mapped out the entire network, training rooms, code words, cash drops. He described the training drills, the payout system, the way each session was logged and laundered. His testimony, paired with wiretap evidence, gave the task force what it needed: surveillance analytics, wiretaps, and a cooperating insider converged. The FBI and gaming boards had proof. But as the task force prepared to move, one question remained: how many more insiders were still hidden, waiting for the next signal? Inside the United States District Court for the Southern District of California, the verdict landed like a sledgehammer. 45 convictions, dealers, coordinators, money handlers, every layer of the network fell. The case file read like a roll call of the operation. Phuong Quoc Truong, known in every San Diego card room as Pai Gao John, pleaded guilty and took the weight. 70 months in federal prison, 3 years of supervised release, 2 San Diego homes seized, restitution set at nearly $7 million to be paid back to the casinos and tribal gaming commissions that had been bled for years. The others, from lieutenants to low-level dealers, faced sentences from 1 to 5 years, depending on how deep they were in and how quickly they flipped. No one walked away clean. The courtroom made it plain. This was no victimless hustle. Every payout, every false shuffle, every envelope of cash now had a price. But as the sentences were handed down, another question lingered in the halls. Could any system, any surveillance, any audit ever guarantee it would not happen again? Inside casino security offices, the Tran Organization's blueprint still haunts every policy update. After the indictments, surveillance rooms across the country got a silent overhaul. High-definition cameras now record every angle of the table, every flick of a dealer's wrist. AI analytics scan for shuffle anomalies, flagging any pattern that hints at a false move. The old days, when one pit boss's suspicion died in a file drawer, are over. Now, suspicious activity triggers instant alerts, cross-checked across properties and state lines. Dealer vetting has become relentless. Annual background checks, financial disclosures, even psychological screening. Casinos are hunting for cracks before they open. Tribal gaming commissions and state boards share flagged dealer lists, closing the loophole that let insiders slip from one venue to the next. Shuffle verification is now ritual, a second set of eyes, a fresh pair of hands, every few hours. But industry veterans know the truth. Every new safeguard is a challenge. The false shuffle may be harder to pull off, but the next trick is always in development. The question gnaws at every surveillance chief. Is the system finally airtight, or just waiting for the next syndicate to find a seam? Casinos still fight a war on trust, where a single compromised dealer can turn millions in chips into easy money. The FBI and gaming control boards watch more closely, but every new scheme learns from the last. Surveillance evolves, and so do the syndicates. The house edge was never just math. Stories like this, a family crime network that turned casino dealers into inside operatives and ran undetected across 27 casinos for 5 years, are exactly what Slick Heist is built on. Hit subscribe so you never miss the next one, because what happens next makes everything before it look minor. Global Heist wraps with this case. Next up, the Chicago outfit's Operation Family Secrets.